There you go.
We're one down. Stephen Henry David.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We got on the front row, don't we?
Yeah, talking about the front row. All right, give a round of
Just-
applause. Come on, all right. Some of you. You need a clicker?
Do we need a clicker?
I don't know.
Thank you. Click away. How y'all doing this morning?
Tell us. Are we?
You're in trouble.
Yeah, how are we doing?
You're in trouble.
I told her she was a case study.
You probably are, don't. We're gonna
The
do it.
names have been changed to protect the
Yeah,
innocent.
so don't stand up and say it's mine. Let us do that for you.
You will.
Well, I was gonna say something before we start on the case studies about earnest money, because that's my favorite topic, right? And for some reason, we're getting a lot of calls from agents that have listings that say earnest money hadn't been turned in, my seller wants to terminate. She said, do it. That's why I said.
She can't do it.
So she can't.
So ready to throw me under the bus. Talking about.
Do it. See, y'all know the seller can't do that, right? Seller doesn't have an automatic right to terminate. Y'all know that, right? Even if the money never gets turned in, they don't have an automatic right to terminate. Can somebody tell me what has to take place?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I know you know it, right?
Well, now I feel bad.
Don't feel bad.
I'd send a 10-day letter.
No, you don't. That's,
Well, then,
that's if there's a dispute over the earnest money. We talked about earnest money never got turned in.
okay, well, if the earnest money never gets turned in, I don't know.
You don't know. That's what's sad. Y'all know that, right? I don't mean nothing bad for Gail, because Gail, I love Gail, but what I'm saying is, we go through this over and over and over, what has to happen if earnest money didn't get turned in. And it's
If
like,
only it was in the contract where you could read it.
it's, yeah, if it was, yeah,
Section B7.
it's in the contract,
B7,
but yet nobody reads it. Or-
That's why I never sit on the front row.
I don't understand it. It's scary. It's scary. Y'all know that, right? But if you let a seller terminate without the right to do so, it puts them in default. And if they go into default, they can get sued. And just like Tiffany was saying, who's the first person they look at when something goes wrong? The agent.
You?
So don't let a seller terminate and don't get them all worked up if the earnest money hadn't been turned in. Read that contract. What'd you say, page 3?
I think it's page 3, the purchase and sale agreement.
It's like paragraph 7 or something in
This
there.
is why I don't know.
That talks about when earnest money is not turned in, it tells what has to happen. If I tell y'all, I'm afraid y'all just hear it and then you'll forget about it. Go read it. I'm gonna tell you anyway, but go read it too. But what happens is the holder of the earnest money, that's whoever y'all agreed to, holding that earnest money, has to notify the parties that the earnest money hasn't been turned in. Until you get notified in writing that it hasn't been turned in, guess what? That holder's got that money. He's responsible for it. So what I always tell y'all to do, let us hold that money. Because that's the safest place for your client's money to be, in my opinion. Second place is with O'Kelly and Sorhan. But I'm not kidding when I told y'all different attorneys have different beliefs. We have every single day, we have problems with big, huge name law firms here in town that you wouldn't believe the crap that they do. So please use O'Kelly for everybody's sake. That's all I gotta say. Y'all can start now, Henry. Henry's a case study, man. He loves case studies.
So
How to do. Oh, he said I didn't tell you what to do, because if the holder sends out the letter and notifies everybody that the money hasn't been turned in, then that buyer has 3 business days to cure that default. So you gotta wait 3 business days for that buyer to cure that default. And then on day 4, if the buyer didn't cure it, then your seller has the right to terminate. Y'all hear what I said?
Yeah.
3 business days, and then on day 4, the seller has the right to terminate. And shame on you if that seller don't terminate at that point. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there's no earnest money. You can't cry to me about where's the earnest money, because we told you we didn't have it. So make sure you follow the timeline so you stay on top.
And there are other brokers that'll make absolutely stupid decisions.
Oh,
We just had,
we ain't gonna talk about that.
well, it's true.
And the most important part about that is follow up on that earnest money. If you're on the buying side or the selling side, it's your job to contact that holder. You know, hey, this is Stephen, 123 Main Street, your holder of earnest money. Have they turned it in yet? If they say yes, go on about your day and have a great thing, go sell more houses. If they say no, that's when you're gonna have to trigger that letter from the holder. And like David was saying, some of these attorneys don't want to do that. We don't do that. Yeah, you do, it's in the contract. It says you do. And so you're gonna have to hound the holder sometimes to do it. That way, if the market center is holding it, our MCOMs are awesome. They've got the letter, boom, they send it out quick and they're good to go. And they're helping you look for that earnest money too. If we're the holder, they're looking to see if it's there. So by the time the MCOM's looking for that earnest money and you're following up on that earnest money, you're gonna be good. But you gotta follow up on that. Don't just assume they did the right thing and turned it in.
So real quick before we start, for anybody that hadn't been in here before, when we've done these, first of all, they're all real. Every one of them. We didn't have to make anything up.
Badly.
If it's yours, you don't have to jump up and tell us about it. Just let it go. And then we don't mind you asking questions, but don't ask any what if questions. And because here's what happens, inevitably when we do this, we let you ask what if questions. We go over the scenario. Gail's listening, right? And then all of a sudden she gets on her phone or falls asleep. You ask the what if question, we answer the what if question, she wakes back up and hears the what if answer and thinks it's for the actual first case study or the case study. And that becomes a problem. So we've had it happen too much. So we just say, you know what, just don't ask any what if questions because it confuses people. So anyway, here we go. You have a friend that lives in the Bahamas. Because you're an agent, your friends she asked you to advertise a home for rent with you, a home here. She's in the Bahamas. She says, hey, would you advertise my home for me just to help me sell it? Can you or should you do this? Yes or no?
If you have an agreement in place to do it, sure.
Oh, yeah, the simple answer, right? It's always, Ogman's razor here. You have to have an agreement. You can't just advertise the home for sale. All right, you can't just advertise a home for sale or for lease without a listing agreement. Period. Period. That also includes people who have put houses under contract but don't own the house yet and want you to advertise it for sale. That's a problem too. Anybody with me there?
You know what he's talking about?
Wholesale.
All these wholesalers and crap, they come to you and want to list a property that they don't actually own, but I got a contract that says I can put it up for sale. The seller agreed to let them put it up for sale. But is that a legal listing?
No, they don't own it.
They don't own
Sign an
it.
agreement with
And
them.
they sign a listing agreement that you're advertising for sale. And then they don't go through with their deal. And now you got this property for sale. When another buyer's got to put it under contract and spent money on due diligence, inspections, all that crap. And then this guy can't come through, who they gonna be mad at?
Us.
So, yeah, be careful, don't do foolish stuff.
Please.
Check the title holder, pull the tax record, make sure you're dealing with who you're dealing with.
Yeah,
That's simple.
absolutely. Up, down, side, back. Watch this go through the window. Thank you. This one, you represent a seller and during your listing presentation, you describe the duties you'll perform while the home is listed for sale. Okay, this is for the seller. You remind the sellers you will have a fiduciary responsibility with them as a real estate agent, and you send a follow-up email stating that you look forward to working with them and their fiduciary interests will always come first. After the home is sold, the sellers will sue you for not representing their fiduciary interest in the transaction. Did you owe them a fiduciary interest? Yes or no?
No.
And the answer here is yes. Why did you owe them a fiduciary duty?
Because told them you did.
Because you told them you do.
David Maxey doesn't like that word, we're not allowed to use
It's
it.
the F word.
I
Don't
hear
use the
that.
F word.
That's the whole thing. When in real estate, we don't like, in Georgia, we don't use the F word. Why? Because in Georgia, we do not have fiduciary responsibilities to clients, right? They wrote that out of the law 30 years ago. Yet we still have agents time and time again. I actually had a productivity coach say it not too long ago. Well, I told my agents they had a fiduciary responsibility. Whoa, stop. You have no fiduciary responsibility. You can mess up and tell somebody you have one and then all of a sudden you may have one, be determined to have one. Of course, how do you know insurance doesn't cover fiduciary responsibility? So that means you're what? On your own, yeah. So don't use fiduciary responsibility. Don't say you have one. Don't tell anybody you have one, and just never use that term ever, and you're okay.
Define it.
Define it. A fiduciary responsibility is where you will put that client's interest above any interest you have, no matter what, and that's provable. Right? Problem is, there's some stuff sometimes that you do that's not necessarily provable. Doesn't matter. Oh, well, like I've got one right now. They're in the hospital. Okay, you need to, close, even though you're in the hospital. Well, whose interest are we looking out for? Well, you're looking after theirs, you think, because you don't want them to get sued, but are you looking after yours because you're getting paid? You want to get in front of a judge and tell the judge which one it was? In Georgia, we don't have that. My responsibility to you, and that is to get you closed. There's that.
As a fiduciary, you are taking on the responsibility for every aspect of that transaction. If they're buying a home, then you're responsible for legally, how does that affect them? With their tax accountability, or, how does that affect them? Just anything financially, the long-term goals, everything you're taking on as an expert in all these other realms of that, except just filling in the blanks of the real estate form and selling them a house. You're kind of holding yourself up as an expert in every aspect of the real estate, how it affects them legally, financially, tax-wise, whatever. And we're not experts in those fields. We have the general duty, and that's it.
And that's it.
Basically,
You're acting like an attorney, which that's what we're not attorneys.
right. In general duty, just, I'm gonna do what it says here. You look at the agent's responsibilities in the listing agreement or the PPA, it's very minimal. It's like, I'm gonna drive around town, unlock doors, fill in blanks. That's it. Keep yourself safe.
Okay.
Yes. So if you go to family reunion or mega camp or MSO, whatever, your people at Keller Williams RI say fiduciary duty. That is because what is all the other states besides Georgia have
There you
it?
go.
And so listen to your brokers, not what you hear outside that, because they're talking in general nationwide, but this is very specific to us.
I always say this, it's so funny. I have agents from that. Well, so-and-so said, I said, okay, well, who are you gonna call when it goes bad? Well, I'm gonna call you. Then why are you listening to so-and-so? It's just that easy.
We've even had bowl coaches here.
Yeah.
Bold saying things like that, so just be careful.
Yeah, they talk.
They don't realize it because they're from.
Because
another
Georgia's
state.
different, yeah.
Yeah, they mentioned it at Ignite. We just said, you gotta take that out while you're teaching it. But anyway. All right. All right, you represent, that caught me off guard because it said seller again. You represent the seller. Closing is on Friday, but the buyer is unable to secure funds and is unable to close. On Monday afternoon, the buyer's agent contacts you, letting you know the buyer's ready to close, and the closing docs are at the closing attorney's office. You advise the seller that they can close or not, being as it did not close Friday. The seller decides to send a unilateral termination. Is there a problem, and for who? Is there a problem here? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, and who's a problem? For who?
Buyer's agent didn't extend the closing, or didn't get an extension.
Now, who's a problem? I didn't hear a rump out of you. What?
The buyer's agent did not.
Name the movie and you get $5.
Yeah, the buyer's agent did not get an extension. They should have either done a unilateral to extend, or they should have gotten a mutual extension.
Let me ask you a
Because
question, though.
it voided it as soon as they didn't close.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me go through it and tell you why. The problem really is for the listing agent and then the seller. Those are the problems.
Why didn't they do something? Why didn't the listing agent do something?
Here's the
Both
problem.
parties knew the contract didn't
Yeah.
close.
The problem is this, so many people okay, let's say this. Let's say that Friday, it's supposed to close on Friday, right? And it didn't close. Is the contract dead? Yes or no?
No.
Yes or no?
Yes,
Yes or no?
yes.
Yes.
I'm trying to get 40 people in on it and not 5. Yes or no? Yes. I mean, who says yes, its contract's dead? Put your hand up.
At the end of the day, it's dead.
Who says no? Who says no? Put it up a little bit higher so I can see you, please. I need to see who these people are, because they're the right ones. 3 of them are right. Oh, Julie jumped in later. Anybody would know it's true. Hey, listen to me. In the state of Georgia, a contract doesn't die because it doesn't close on the closing date. It has to be terminated. All right? We had one a few years back that we had that failed to close in December because the seller had a bunch of liens on the house. And our agent, who then left us, didn't do a termination. In April, we received a letter from the buyer's attorney saying, we're ready to close now. See y'all all on such and such a date, be there, be square.
This is, what y'all missing is, you heard what Thea said. Buyer should have done this, right? Buyer should have. But then the seller had an option too, right?
Mhm.
Since it didn't close, they didn't do nothing. They could have sent a unilateral and said, buyer failed to close, I'm keeping your earnest money and put their house back active, but they didn't do anything. Both agents just sit and did nothing. The first agent sent a notice and said, hey, we're ready to close now. So by them sending notice, they acted first. Whoever had it done, whatever had been done first is what drives the thing on forward. Does that make sense? Both of y'all agents had a responsibility. Neither one of them did it. Then one of them finally came through and said, hey, we're ready to close now. Nobody had terminated, so now we're moving on with closing. That's what you gotta be careful of.
How did that one end?
We got, let's see, I'm trying to remember on that one. I think we talked, if I'm not mistaken on this one, we did say, y'all gonna have to talk to legal counsel. We backed out, said, look, we told our agent, why didn't you do this? And they did it. They finally, I'm sorry, no. They finally terminated, the sellers terminated and kind of stood on that. That, hey, you were not here and you were ready to close, but we terminated. And then the holder of the earnest money gave the seller the money, now they're lawyering back and forth. This is what's happening now, and we're trying to stay out of it and not speak too loud about it, because in the end, the listing agent should have told the seller, kill this Saturday morning and just get it back. Because understand, there's two things you did. Number one, you protected them with the termination. You also protected them by getting it back on the market. So quit thinking that these contracts, well, it died, or I'm pleased, for God's sake, don't say it's out of contract. What does that mean?
I would think the sellers will be screaming for the earnest money at that point, though, in which case you would have to do something.
I understand some sellers don't act like you think they do.
Well, I mean, and there's no doubt in my mind that we would be screaming, saying, this didn't close, what's going on? Why didn't we get a unilateral? Why didn't we get an extension? So the minute that didn't close at the time it was supposed to close, and frankly, why did we not know that beforehand? But we should have known that a long time ago beforehand. But to your point, yes, there's no doubt in my mind that if this was me, I'd be there like, why isn't this closing? You know, what's the next step as the selling representative or the buying representative trying to work towards resolution as to, are we moving forward or not at that point? So
Many
yeah.
times, unfortunately, many times, we see agents do their best ostrich imitation on both sides. They stick their head in the sand. If the problem will go away in a minute, it'll go away in a minute. And it doesn't, it gets worse. Okay, with time, the problems get worse. Trust us.
Well, and like you said, the seller's agent probably got so upset because it wasn't closing, but why didn't she know or he know that 2 or 3 days before that?
Sure.
You know, y'all.
That's what
supposed to
Trick's
check
for.
on that.
That's what Trick's for.
But
Maybe
why
have a
weren't you,
conversation.
why wasn't the seller just like, okay, cool, we'll close and let's be done with it?
You would be
To me-
surprised.
You could have let us
Surprised the way people do. I'm just gonna say, I mean, literally, we had a seller and just said, I don't think, I think that it's fraud, there's fraud involved, and they didn't close the time, I'm out. Yeah, but they're sitting here and said they got the money.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
anyway.
We got them
It's like,
at
let's
just
just be
about an
done.
hour. We didn't close at 2 like we had scheduled, so with 4 o'clock, we're ready. Man.
Yeah, they've got trial contract. Anyway. You represent a buyer with a BBA, you state in section 4 other that the commission is negotiable depending on the amount offered by the listing agent or seller. Is there a problem with this, yes or no?
Yes.
Are you sure there's a problem with it?
Angie Grant.
Yeah.
Yeah, stand your ground. You're right, yes, there's a problem with it. And yet, here we are, these are, most of these are 5 weeks old or less, 5 weeks old, 5 weeks old. And we should have agents doing things like that, that are gonna get you in trouble. All right, remember on that BBA, it has to be specific. All right, I had, it's one of the greatest stories. Sometimes, you know, you take a victory and you go, oh man, that, you wanna run a lap on it. I had an agent who's just so mad, couldn't understand why can't I put in there, but if they offer, you know, a $5,000 bonus, I can take it. Or we can amend it. We're gonna amend it so that I can take the bonus. I said, you can't amend it, but there's no but, you can't amend it. And it was funny because we went round and around in a good way, by the way, we have good conversations. And one day the agent just said, you know what, I just told them that, what the heck? And I put in my BBAs, you're gonna pay me 4% and $5,000 in bonus is what you're gonna pay me by the way, I'm not gonna come after that, but. And he says, I have those discussions up front with him. He said, guess what? I'm making more money now. And I went, whoa, this guy was fighting it. And when I say fighting it, I mean fighting it. He even got into a meeting at the market center and was fighting it. But all of a sudden just went, and it flipped. And it's like, oh, if I just have the discussion. We got too used to, I'm just gonna tell you the truth, we got way too used to back in 2020, 21, 22. Got too used to, oh, you wanna see the house? Here, quick, let's go. Not, hey, here's what we're gonna do. And we're not, you know, it's not 2020 now, 2021, 2022. We're not, you're not gonna buy and pay $50,000 more for the first house you see. So let's take the time to sit down, go through what you want, discuss what's good, what's bad, what's needed, what's not, and let me explain this paperwork, and we'll go do it. And you end up closing a lot more that way. I will tell you, and y'all have heard me say it before, and still to this day, I should never give this credit. I hate giving this credit. I hate giving credit to some people, and this is it. But I swear to you, I'm sitting in the office, huh? You know it's coming. And I was sitting in the office one day, and David was helping a friend of his and buy a house, and we were talking. He said, "Look at this," and he threw out 5 MLS sheets. This has been 8 years ago now, probably 9 years ago. Threw out. He said, "That's the only houses I'm showing." He's taking number 2. Now I can tell you the words I used, but I'll just say I didn't believe it. I said, whatever. Guess what? He took number 2. And he did. He said, because I sat down and talked to him for a long time.
Know what your buyer wants.
Know what
Buyer
the,
consultation.
yeah, don't throw them in the car and just get going.
And you know how I lined them up? I knew number 2 was perfect, and I knew everything they wanted. So I didn't want to show them that one first, because if I showed it to them first, they said, oh, we came by the first house we saw, right? You gotta think before you waste your time, because your time is more valuable to yourself than anybody else's time, I would hope. I know mine is. So it pays to listen.
All right, number 5. You represent a seller in the purchase sale, you add a special stipulation that states property will continue to be marketed as active in MLS for 15 days after buying agreement date. Is this allowable, yes or no?
It's not.
I would think.
Do y'all do it?
If you do it,
We're not talking about that anymore.
You seen it before?
Do they do it? Yes.
Absolutely.
According to, yes.
Just remember, you cannot special stipulate a rule, whether it be an MLS rule or a GREG rule. You can't special stipulate a rule out of existence. Yeah, but the, you know, the owner needs to do this, they need it. That just lets me know that as a listing agent, you did not sit down and tell them, hey, by the way, we're going to contract now. This goes into a pending status, right? We don't keep them active because we can't. That's the MLS rule. Now, by the way, put it on MLS. It's not my rule, it's the MLS rule. All right, and I'm not gonna pay the fines for you. Would you like, or you wanna pay the fines for it? Well, how much are they? I don't know, they start like $100, I don't know. They're gonna say, no, don't do it. Okay, then that's it. All right? I literally had to have an agent in another brokerage call out one of our agents on this. An agent called me and said, they told me I wasn't right, man. What am I supposed to tell them? You call back, tell them they were right. Huh? Yeah, you gotta call back and tell them they're right. And I hated that, hated it, but it is what it is. All
How
right,
do we
so
get, how do we get them to put that distinction back in with a kick out? You know, they used to have that,
they used to,
and
and
now they took that away.
that's it. What's
And
one of the-
active under contract is not the same as kick out.
Yeah, and then why they did it, I don't know.
Should call FMLA.
Petition FMLA, petition FMLA, use your right. Use your rights of Americans, petition FMLA, that's about it. You list a piece of property owned by a municipality. The mayor signs a listing agreement, a buyer signs a purchase and sale agreement. And the mayor, by the way. The mayor's then told the city can't sell the property without advertising for bids in the county's legal order. They do so when someone other than the buyer is awarded the winning bid. What now?
And you'll say,
Exactly what happened. Okay, a couple of warnings here, okay? Here's a couple of warnings. You ready? Number one, folks, don't dive in the pool if you can't see the bottom. If you don't know commercial, stay out of commercial. Or at least get an agent that does commercial to do commercial with you. If you've never worked with a municipality before, you better find somebody that has. Totally different set of rules over there most of the time. Maybe not all the time, but most of the time. And here's what happened
But you're
here.
dealing with the government, so it's gonna be easy.
Oh, it's not. Everybody in the government's gonna tell you the truth, by the way. Yeah, right. The mayor's attorney is all gonna say, yeah, we can sign it, we can sell it. Because that's what happened, by the way. The attorney said we could do it. Until the Municipal Association of Georgia, I can't remember what it's called, called in and said, yeah, what are y'all doing? We have, but you know, we hold bonds on that. No, you're not selling that. You gotta put it out for bid. You gotta put out anything you do out for bid. And so now the buyer's like, well, what am I gonna do? What are y'all gonna do about it? Of course, the city attorney, first thing he said was, oh, well, it was a, you know, unenforceable agreement anyway, because we didn't have the right to sell at the time. Oh, well, that's real easy, easy for you. Now, the good thing for us is they sign a listing agreement, which, what does it say in the listing agreement? When that person signs the listing agreement, what? They have the authority and the right to sell, yeah. They've got authority and right to sell. So long story short, yeah, the buyer got screwed over on this one. That's all there was to it. But yeah, when you're dealing with something like that, and again, you're dealing with this, you know, you do residential all the time. Somebody wants, you know, my friend wants to list that commercial. Don't do it. I'm telling you, don't do it. Find somebody that does commercial, maybe we. Yeah. And get in there with them. And, you know, if you want to learn it, fine. David's taught a lot of people. I'm not trying to get you like. Thanks on the plug. I don't know if I'm plugging you or pimping you. I don't know what you're trying to do. But, you know, the thing is, David's done a bunch of them and he's taught a bunch of agents how to do them. And so that's what you do, because it's a different thing, man. You get sued commercial so fast. I mean, so fast. I have agents just the other day ask me a quick, hey, we're in the contract, this happened, now what? I'm like, tell them to saddle up. It's to be a long ride. Nobody's gonna like it. But it's because you've got to know what you are doing, and you know, most people do residential. Not a lot of people deal with city. Have you ever dealt with city before? Yeah. And that's, I think you got in here after we did this. The mayor signed the listing agreement and the purchase sale agreement, and the attorney said, sure, we can do it. We can sell the building. And the Municipal Association of Georgia had a bond that come back and said, they can't.
Right.
Yeah, and so you gotta watch that. So just watch out for that. You represent, now this time's a buyer, it's a little bit different. You represent the buyer during the buyer presentation. You describe the duties you will perform while looking for a home. You remind the buyer, you're gonna have a fiduciary responsibility to them as a real estate agent. The other one was a seller, this is a buyer. You send a follow-up email stating that you look forward to working with them and will always have their fiduciary interest and will always come first with them. However I read that. After the home is sold, the buyers sue you for not representing their fiduciary interest in the transaction because their home is on a septic, not on sewer. Do you owe them fiduciary interest? Yes or no?
If you told them you didn't, you
It's the same thing, right? They just change the buyer and the seller out. Okay, you told them you have messed up. You messed up. Never say, tell anybody you owe fiduciary interest or you fiduciary duties. You don't in Georgia. It was funny. I sent these over, I'm gonna tell him, sent these over to Stephen and he texted me back and said, you just changed the buyer and the seller, is really all you did, and these two, why we repeat. And I said, because we having so much trouble right now. That I want to drive it home, that don't use fiduciary duties. You do not owe the fiduciary duties of the state of Georgia. You only owe the duties that are in the listed agreement, the buyer brokerage agreement, purchase sale agreement. That's what you owe.
General duty.
All right? And that's all you owe. So just make sure you don't do this. All right, the last one, and then we're out of here. A friend asked you to sell their mobile home. The mobile home is not attached to the land. Can you help with that transaction? Yes or no?
No.
Personal property.
Okay, watch this, because let me just go ahead and give you the answer that I gave the person, team leader, that asked me this question. All right? Here's the question. For $20, it wasn't you.
It was.
Oh, wasn't you? Give me $20. $20, I'll tell them it's not you. No, but listen, here's the deal. When you say mobile home, here's what I want you to do, just replace it with used car in your mind, okay? So ask yourself that question. Hey, they want me to sell their used car. It's not attached to land. Can I help with the transaction? Everybody's mobile home, it's personal property.
Yeah, it has a tag on
Yeah, it's.
And wheels.
It's-
it. And wheels.
Here's the way that somebody went into an MLS making this argument, MLS board meeting. I said, here's what you say. We sell deeds, not titles. We sell deeds, not titles. And that's the way to look at it. Okay, let me tell you now, because somebody in here should say, I'm surprised nobody did. Yeah, but there is a certain MLS service that they've got some on there that aren't attached to the land. Okay, I can't help that. I can't help if they sell a house and it's got 4 kilos of coke in the basement. That's not my problem, right? I can't help that.
Well,
But-
it depends on who's knocking on the door.
But the thing is this, if it's a mobile home, it's not attached, that title has not been retired, you're not selling it.
Okay, what about, go into detail about attached, because where I came from, if a trailer had underpinning and you couldn't see the wheels,
Let me
you
say
might think
this.
it's attached.
Yes, and I'm sorry, I'm kind of glad, I'm glad Gail said that.
May not have-
Hey, one thing you'll never say in your life, I'm glad Gail said that. Because by attached, what I mean is legally attached, not screwed down. Although that's part of it, really, it's gotta have that permanent foundation, but legally attached. It's attached to that land as a deed that shows it no different really than a home.
And the title's.
No skirt.
And that title has been
That's what
retired.
it's driving.
Therefore, there's a deed in there now and not a title slinking
So
under that.
underpinning don't count.
Well, it actually kind of does. If you underpin it, you have to put the,
It might.
Skirt around.
yeah,
If you had a
yeah.
title retired and you had it underpinned, it would count. But.
So-
So that would count, but it still has to be the property going with it, or can the property be
The property
leased
has to be with.
with it? So the property has to be deeded with it, because I know there's some places like up on, the lakes and stuff like that, that's not the case, so.
Right. Yeah, what you do is you're renting the
Right,
property.
renting the property,
We
yeah,
don't sell those mobile homes.
okay.
Yeah.
That make it a chattel? Like chattel finance, stuff like that, because it's.
Yeah, I mean, it just ain't us. It just what it does is it makes it personal property. I mean, that's just the simplest way we can put it. All right, cool. I think that's the last one.
That's it. Thank y'all.